Hello, this is Team 2, and this is our Sprint 4 demo walkthrough. So just quick to start, we have our pulled from our Sprint 4 tag, which you can see here. And then we have in our database Sprint 4 functionality saved, where given user has their chats, and that's stored with the summary and the unique title. And then we've also connected to the OpenAI API. We'll get into custom commands when we walk through the demo scenarios. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the scenarios. All right, so let's start by creating a new account for Rahul. And then on new user login, you can see we have all of these seated expenses and state visuals to help the new user figure their way around spend view and in dashboards. And then we can go to the budgets tab and create some new budgets. So let's make one for Sephora. Let's say $50 makeup, and we'll make that a monthly budget. So let's start on December 1st. Okay. Now, if we make another budget, let's call that our tech budget, and that is $100. The category for that will be technology, and that can be a weekly budget. The start date of 25th. Okay. So then let's make a new, let's call it like a boba budget, and that is $5. Make the category drinks, and then that can be a weekly budget. And let's say we put it for the 27th, and then we can go to Firebase, and we're in users, and click on Rahul, go to budgets, and then we can see our technology budget, our boba budget, and our Sephora budget. We also have the seated ones. Okay, now we go to the expense log, and we can create some new expenses. Let's start with something at Tea Leaf for like $1, and that's drinks. So let's say that was November 22nd. Then let's say, sure, we have an expense for an iPad for $50, and that's technology, and that date is November 20th. Then we can make an expense at, we can buy lipstick at Sephora, and that, let's say, is $5. That's makeup. Let's say we try to put that on the 25th. Can't be in the future. So instead, let's make that the 21st. Okay, so now if we head back over here to Firebase, go to users, you can see we have Rahul here. We go to the expenses. We can find those seated expenses, and then we have the technology expense, makeup, and our Tea Leaf expense, just as expected. Okay, now we can go to dashboard, and you can see our charts have updated to include all those expenses we just tracked, and we have our new budgets. And if we go to the calendar, let's say we put something on the 21st, you can see our chart updates in real time with the expenses that were made before that date. And since our budgets are all still under budget, that data has also been recomputed. So yeah. Now we can go to expenses, and let's say maybe an Apple Watch for $40. And that's technology, and we'll make that, yeah, sure. So if we submit, we see that we have hit 90% of our tech budget. So let's dismiss that pop-up. Let's go to the chatbot tab. Can you give me some personalized savings tips. And then we can see up here that it notes that technology is our riskiest because it's spent 90% of its $100 limit. And it tells us that we have an opportunity to sort of reallocate our underused budgets towards the areas where we're doing more spending. Okay, so now we can go to saving circles, create a new savings group. Yeah, let's just call it Rahul and Vignesh. Challenge title. Maybe we can call this our winter break funds. Challenge goal of $200. We can make that monthly. Okay, submit that. Okay. Now we can open that up. You can see as the creator, you can invite and delete. You see the current user information. So let us invite Vignesh. You can send that invite. Note that the invite got sent. You can see our progress bar is empty because we haven't made any contributions towards this goal. If we can go take a look at it in Firebase, notice that we have joined saving circles and we have this new saving circle right here. We can search this circle ID. Once we find that, we find winter break funds. Rahul is our creator, and we have all of this information about the users. All right. So, if we go and go back to the expense log, then we can make a $50 contribution to that group savings. Contribution to winter break fund. That's towards winter break fund. Yeah, sure. Have that be today. Okay, and if we go back to the saving circle, we open it up, we can see that that progress bar is updated. Rahul's contributions here have updated, and we will see that it is also updated on Vignesh's tab, as mentioned before, when we open up his account, which we can do now. So if we log out, yes, we can save our chatbot summary. Okay, so now for scenario 2, let's log into Vignesh's account. We log in, we get a pop-up showing that it's been quite some time since we logged our expenses, which we can dismiss, and we can come back and show that if you click on the other button, it takes you to the expense log. So now we can go to dashboard. You can see everything looks good. Let's go to our saving circles. We can see we have 2 invitations here. We will accept the invitation from Rahul, so it shows up in our log, and we will decline the other one. You can see that it's not showing up. So if we go and we take a look at this, which is our official new saving circle, we can see Rahul's contributions. So now let's go, not there, expenses, and let's call it winter break contribution. Let's say $75, and that's towards the winter break funds. But you can see this category showed up after we accepted that invite. And yeah, that can be today. So we got a new expense. If we go to the savings circles, we open it up. We can see Vignesh's contributions. We can see that our progress bar has increased. And since Vignesh is not the creator of this group, he does not have invite and delete privileges. Okay, so now we can also go and check. If we go look at the same saving circle, we can see Vignesh has now been added as a user, and he has his contribution of $75 spent. Okie dokie. So now we can go to budgets, create a new budget for transportation. Yeah. Let's say $100. Say it's weekly. Now we'll have the start date be the 26th. Okay. Now let's go to the expense log. And let's log the transportation expense. Say $10. Transportation. Let's say that's on the 22nd. Now if we go into Firebase and find Vignesh, and we go look at those expenses, we can find that expense that we just made, and it is linked to its corresponding budget by that category of transportation. All right. So now we can go back to the app, go to our chatbot. You can see we're asked if we want to include previous chat data. Let's say yes, and we're given these chat titles. We can choose the first one, and that context has been injected. Let's say I want some help to improve my spending habits. Okay, yeah, so it gives me some practical advice on how I can improve. We can also ask. And here we can see the advice from earlier showing that context was really injected, and we can see that our chat is giving us very specific advice to our expenses. So now we can log out. Let's say we don't want to save. We can log back into Rahul's account. Go to the Saving Circles tab. We can see that that Vignesh has accepted, and that progress bar is updated, and that we see his contributions. We can close that, and we can see that our app has functioned properly. So just to cover last few final things, we can pull up check style, run a scan, no problems. We can go to our sprint for JUnits. Let me just minimize this. And we can run these tests. You can see that all 12 pass. We can see that we're testing days since last expense, which triggers that pop-up. We're testing our queue system for the pop-up here. And then we're also testing near limit budgets, which is another trigger for those pop-ups. We can test the message handling for the chatbot, making sure that it's not crashing at any point. And then building the financial context to give personalized messages, and then creating unique titles. Okay. Then, as you can see, we have maintained MVVM architecture. We have our view models. We have our views contained in here. And then we have all of our model data in here. And then we have our Firebase repo and all. No crashes or logic errors or broken UI. And then one thing that we can take a look at is for the pop-ups. Let's run the app again. Let's say just log into a different account. That will trigger that expense pop-up. We can get this missed expenses, and we can click go to expense log. We can see that it takes us there properly. So yeah, that should be it for our demo. Thank you. Okay, also just wanted to pop back in to go over any Sprint 4 functionality that didn't talk about super explicitly as we were going through the scenarios. Okay, so we have the missed expense detected. We showed that goes to the expense log. It's all good. We showed our, if we spend 90% of one of our budgets, let's see, what do we have? Coffee, sure. Can make a $7 expense Coldies. And we get our budget limit warning, and these are all done with a queue system which resides here in pop-up view model. You can see we have the notification queue, and then we have our pop-ups get added to that queue, and then we emit from our pop-up queue. Then for the chatbot, we can ask for our custom commands. We did not have previous chat message pop up here because this user does not have any previous chats. Yeah, okay. So we can see that it gives us our expenses by category, it gives us our recent expenses, and then it gives us some tips. Yeah, our chatbot interface is scrollable. We have our timestamps. We have messages between the user and the chatbot. If we log out and save that context, we can go check in Firebase, go to the user. We go to their chats. You can see we have one new chat, personal expense summary, and it gives us a summary of the chat.